One second. I just heard something weird behind me.
In here with me?
I'd just like to know that, you're happy with us being here.
Ellen, we've seen your gardens. They look very nice.
I swear it then, Clive, from over there. I could hear children talking.
Talking?
Yeah. Back the way we came.
Can you ask her to join us, please? I just saw something move again, in white.
Yes, sir, yes. If I'm poison, manufacture records. It's like a light is in my face, but I can't fall for you. I close my eyes and drift away. I've been toast on you. Then you wake up dead one day.
Warley Place. The Wilmot family, comprising of Frederick Wilmot, his wife Ellen and his two daughters Ellen Ann and Rose, moved to Warley Place in 1875. The three women were all keen gardeners, but it was Ellen Ann who really transformed the grounds into one of the most celebrated gardens in the country. Her father died in 1892 and her mother in 1898, her sister Rose having married into the Berkeley family in 1891 and moving to Spetchley Park near Worcester in 1897. As well developing the gardens in general, in 1882 the daughter Ellen, at 24 years of age, started on her new alpine garden. It was a major undertaking, involving building a ravine with a stream running along it and special caves for her ferns. The ravine and the massive rocks exist today, but sadly there are no sign of the original plants. In 1894, Ellen acquired the services of a gardener from Switzerland to oversee the alpine garden. Jacob Mora proved to be brilliant at his job and a real gentleman, and he stayed there until he died 40 years later. The cottage in which he lived with his wife and 9 children was South Lodge, which still stands by the entrance to Warley Place. Ellen Wilmot soon made a name for herself in horticulture and helped to finance expeditions to acquire new plants. Queen Mary, Queen Alexandra and Princess Victoria even visited her, and her garden became famous throughout Britain and beyond. She was one of 2 women to be awarded the RHS Medal of Honour in Queen Victoria's Jubilee year of 1897. Sadly, she spent all of her money on the garden and other interests and died in 1934, almost penniless. Many of the rarer plants were removed to Spetchley Park to be cared for by the Berkeley family, but some of the trees and shrubs still exist to this day. The house was sold and then demolished in 1939, the garden reverting to a wilderness. In 1977, Essex naturalists purchased the land and it has been brought up to a present standard as a nature reserve, still retaining many of the possible features of the original garden. It was along this path in 2014 that a husband and wife were making their way up towards the gardens. They noticed a woman walking in the opposite direction coming towards them. The man turned round to his wife and said, "I think the gardens are up this way." And as the woman passed, she said, "My gardens are on the right-hand side." When they turned to thank her, she had completely gone. And what they found quite odd about the lady was, she was wearing Victorian clothes. Whilst Clive and I are setting up the static cam facing the conservatory, we both see a white-type figure pass at the end of one of the paths. We make our way to that area, but we find nothing. We start off the investigation in what is left of the chapel. We've come to speak to Ellen Wilmot and anyone else that used to live and work here. So if any of you are here, can you come and take a seat? We have a couple of devices on the table. This one's called a REM pod, and if you go anywhere near it, it will light up and make a noise. It won't harm you at all. That just lets us know that you're with us. This device here, it's just a recorder. It records your voice. And this device here is a K2 meter. It picks up on EMF, electromagnetic fields. Now earlier on, before we set up our equipment, this K2 meter lit up several times. Is it possible you can do that again for us, please? If you can hear my voice, what did you do here? Was you one of the workers? One of the maids? One of the cooks? One of the butlers? Or are you indeed Ellen Wilmot? They say that they've seen you. I just saw a flash of light. And I'll tell you how I saw it. And it was through this window. I just saw something move again, in white. I see a flash of light come from outside, followed by something in white move. We all then make our way outside towards the conservatory and search the area, but nothing is found. But our static night vision camera, which is facing the conservatory, has captured what I have seen. First, here is the light that moves from left to right. And now, here is the white anomaly that moves from just outside where we are all sitting. So who is the woman in white? Is that Ellen Wilmot? Earlier on, before we set up our equipment, myself and Clive, we were outside and we saw someone in white walk across one of the pathways. And we went down there and Clive saw someone in white too, very quickly moving. Is that you, Ellen? Are you still here looking after your gardens? Can you make this device light up, please? So this would have been the conservatory. We've got the REM pod in the middle of the floor. We've got a motion detector at that entrance over there. That would have been going into the library. And we've put a motion detector in that doorway. That would have been going into the music room and then into the chapel where we were earlier. So they say, Ellen, that this was one of your favourite places to sit down and look out there across the fields and flowers where the trees are, that you used to love looking at your gardens. Can you come here and take a seat and join us, please? We really want to speak to you. Come and approach us. Where did you sit? Whereabouts was your seat? So this doorway here went into your library. And on the map it says you've got a hidden door. So to go into the library and then off to the left was a hidden door. Are you standing at the doorway? Mark and Clive make their way to the walled gardens.
I'd like to speak to Helen Wilmot, who owned this land and this property. from what I've been reading, these gardens were a talking point because they were so beautiful and well maintained. Are you here with us, Ellen? Keeping an eye on your gardens, even though even after you've passed on? Will you take me on a tour of the gardens, the walled garden? We'd love you to tell us what the different plants are and things like that. So we're going to walk around, if you could. Could you tell us the name of some of the plants that were in this walled garden? I've read that you travelled all over the world bringing exotic and strange plants back over here and grew them over here. I bet you had some wonderful times tending to this garden. What was your favourite plant or tree or anything like that you brought over, or was an English species? What was your favourite? I'm sure you're around here all the time and making sure everything's okay. I know if I'd done all the work that you did to keep this looking how it did, I'd want to stay here forever. Do you come down every so often, Ellen? Or anybody who used to work in this garden, or the children? Do you come here and visit, or you are here all the time? I swear it then, Clive, from over there. I could hear children talking.
Talking?
Yeah. Back the way we came. And it was children, not a child, not one. Over in the direction where that hut is, where we're based, I heard two children speaking to each other, and the hairs on my arm have gone sky high.
Unfortunately, the children that Mark could hear talking was not picked up on the digital recorder.
I was in your garden earlier today, before it got dark, and I've noticed these beautiful, beautiful tall trees you've got here in the middle. I'm just wondering, is one of them a yucca plant? The children must really enjoy the garden in the summer. I've also noticed the photographs of you making and drinking tea in the field across where the front of the house used to be, where the sundial was. I bet that brought back some lovely memories on hot summer days, doesn't it? And also the wonderful, wonderful water features that you would have had a bit further on over there as we came in, where all the rocks and that are, and the small canyons. Did you enjoy the water features with the children as well? Be very nice and extremely interesting to find out a little bit more about what happened here when everything was flourishing, the gardens were pristine, You can talk to us, you know, if you want to. We're not going to do anything that we shouldn't. We'd just like to know that, you know, you're happy with us being here. And you can contact us through this meter device that I have in my hand that won't hurt you. Just to let us know that you are still wandering around the grounds, even at night time.
Jackie and I walk the paths of Warley Place, carrying out EVP sessions in different locations. We come to an intersection where earlier Clive and I saw something white move across the pathways, and as we stop, I hear something walking behind me.
Hold on a sec. I just heard something move behind me. I thought something was walking behind me.
Here is the enhanced audio of the footsteps, and if you listen carefully, you can also hear which sounds like the swaying of a lady's dress.
Hold on a sec. I just heard something move behind me. Hold on a sec. I just heard something move behind me.
Are there any spirits here with us tonight? Frederick, are you here? Any of your grandchildren? Gardeners? Anybody here at all that can talk to us? We've come to see you, speak to you. Ellen, we've seen your gardens. They look very nice.
Ellen, this was the pathway that you were seen. You spoke to that man and his wife when they were walking up here, going towards the gardens. And you said, my gardens are up on the right hand side. You told them where to go. Mark and Clive head into where the house once stood, and all that now remains are the ruins of the basement.
Right, come on.
Right, just be careful walking over this because they're a bit uneven. I'm now in what would have been the cellars of Warley House. The rest of the cellars outside of the first floors all fell in. Is there anyone down here with me? Any of the servants that used to work at Warley House? Any of the servants that used to work at Warley House? Any of the servants that used to work at Warley House? I don't suppose Ellen, who was the lady of the manor, came down here much, but you might have. I bet it was a hive of activity down here when the house was up and fully functioning. Are there any of the old cooks or servants in here with me? Are there any of the old cooks or servants in here with me? Are there any of the old cooks or servants in here with me?
No more EVPs were captured within the ruins of the basement, so Jackie and I make our way to the walled gardens. I turn on the EVP detector, which scans the frequencies above and below our hearing, spelling out the words that are within the white noise. And as I enter, words start to come through. Okay, that's the EVP detector on.
Jonathan.
The word said Jonathan.
I heard that.
Kids.
Kids. Hold on, didn't Mark say he heard kids here? Are you one of the children called Jonathan? One of the children of Ellen Wilmot? Can we come into your gardens?
Beatrice.
We had Jonathan, now we got Beatrice. Do you play in these gardens? Is this where the children play? What games do you like to play? Jonathan, Beatrice? What's your favourite games? Is your mum here? Where's your mum? We'd like to speak to her about her gardens. Can you ask her to join us, please? It sounded as if something moved in front of me. Can you ask her to join us, please? It sounded as if something moved in front of me. Can you ask her to join us, please? It sounded as if something moved in front of me. We concluded our investigation at Warley Place, the home of Ellen Wilmot, and the evidence suggests that something still wanders within its grounds. The history of this location is amazing. To walk the location and see what was once here has opened our eyes. It's quiet and beautiful, the same as it was back in the day when over 100,000 plants that were brought here from all around the world by Ellen Wilmot